welcome back to the channel. We're I'm out in the Mustang today. I'm gonna make a video. I thought I'd take the chance to make a video. Every time I go to a car show, the last couple of videos I've put up about the Mustang, I've had great feedback on. You guys are liking the videos, and I appreciate that. Like I said, I never think to make videos of the Mustang just because there's so many videos on YouTube on Mustangs. I mean, everybody's got one, but I really appreciate all the comments and people liking the car, so I do like that. One question that I get at a lot of car shows and messaged me is twofold. One is the cost, how much it cost me to build my car, and the other one is how much does it cost me to run my car. As far as, you know what I mean, like, is it expensive on fuel and stuff like that. So with the Supra in the shop for paint and not being able to get out there, Derek and Ryan are at Formula 1 this weekend in Montreal because you know, everybody deserves a weekend off once in a while, and they work their ass off, so they definitely deserve it. I thought I'd take this opportunity and answer some of those questions for you. So as far as how much does it cost to build a car like this, I mean, that's going to widely vary in where you are and what your skill level is and how much you're doing to the car. I do everything to my own car. I don't do it to save money. I don't do it, you know what I mean, because I have to. I do it because it's a stress reliever for me. It's something that I enjoy doing. My kids are getting old enough. I can teach them how to build engines. They work on it. You see my kids bounce around the background sometimes. So I mean, I do all of the work myself. The only thing that I didn't do on my car was the machining of the block. I had the block sleeved and the head ported, like a mile street port. So that was done by Competition Automotive, and the tune. Everything else I do for myself. So how much it's going to cost you to build it, I mean, that varies. If I had to guess, I would say to build my car, if you were paying someone to do it, I wouldn't know because I don't know what shop rates are. If you were paying full price for everything, again, I've got a lot of friends that are in the industry. I've been doing this for a long time. I mean, I get everything at a pretty good deal. I've got a lot of really good friends that help me out. You know, when it comes to parts and stuff like that, I'm getting it at cost. When I'm getting machining done, it just years in the industry and years doing it, you have contacts. I would say if you didn't, you'd probably be $50,000 into the car after you've bought it to have a car like mine. Now, I'm just kind of guesstimating that. I mean, the tranny and clutch, 10,000. Keep in mind, I'm also talking Canadian dollars, so almost free for you Americans. But I mean, the transmission, to buy the transmission and have them, you know, kind of trick it out and face the gears and do a bunch of stuff to the transmission, and my clutch, you know, there's 10 grand. It's an RPS carbon billet. The machining for the blocks, 5,000 bucks with the head and the sleeving. The superchargers, Canadian, $12,000, $13,000. All the other parts, I would say $50,000 is a pretty close estimate to what it would cost to build the car, not including a shop rate if you're taking it somewhere else to have the work done. If you're taking it somewhere and having them do the work, I mean, the sky's the limit at a $100 shop rate. I mean, here in Canada, $100, $120, $150 an hour shop rate is pretty normal. So, I mean, I've got a lot of hours into my car. You can imagine it probably gets up there pretty quick. Then if something goes wrong, again, you're taking it apart, or they're taking it apart. They're you know, searching for the problem, kind of troubleshooting what the problem is, and then putting it back together. It can probably get pretty expensive. So, as far as how much it costs me to build my car, I mean, I'm not going to say what it costs me to build my car. I get a pretty good price on stuff. I do all the work myself, and again, I've got great friends that help me out. I would say, if someone's asking me what it would cost to build a car, I did sit down and went over the numbers, and I think 50,000 Canadian, 50 to 55,000 Canadian, kind of where you'd be if you were paying for everything just off of a website or you know, paying a machine shop that you didn't know and that kind of thing. So 50 to 55. That's also including, guys, my rims and tires, my brakes. You know what I mean? The drive shafts and half shafts. That's the whole thing. My car is the way it sits right now. I'd say 50 to 55 after you buy the car. Now, as far as operating the car, that can get a little expensive on a monthly basis. I get that at car shows all the time. How much is it to you know, do I burn through gas? And yeah, I mean, it eats more gas. I'm always putting premium gas in it. Premium gas here in Canada, like I said, I try to run, when I tune it for 93, but I try to run 94 in it if I can find it. 90% of the time I'm running 94. That's going to run me anywhere between $1.40 and $1.50 a liter, which is like $5.50 to $6 a gallon for you Americans. Again, that's Canadian. It doesn't, like, I can obviously go through the gas very quickly if I'm out horsing around or pissing around with my buddies. I can go through the gas very, very quickly. If I'm out, you know what I mean, cruising, it's not too horrible on gas. Definitely better than your standard bone stock truck, or, you know, even some buddies with Camaros. I'm getting significantly better gas mileage than some of my buddies with stock Camaro SS's and what is it, ZL1? I think it's ZL1. So that way there, I'm pretty happy, although it can cost you. Now, little things, you know, tires. You know, the car is pretty hard on tires, even when you're not beating on it. I mean, if you get into it even a little bit, your tires break loose. Now, that's with traction control off. With Ford, I mean, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. If you leave the traction control on and you get into a little bit and your tires want to spin, your back brakes are pulsing to stop your tires from spinning, which is burning out your back brakes. If you shut the traction control off and your tires start spinning, then you're burning out your tires. Now, I don't run cheap tires. I don't suggest anybody that's going to do a build and you know, I mean, running high horsepower to run cheap tires, because it's dangerous with some cheaper tires. So I'm usually running Pirelli Trofeo R's. Right now on the car, I've got the Michelin Sport Cup 2s. Again, they're not the cheapest tires. Here in Canada, in Canadian dollars again, I'm running 325 3019. They can run me anywhere from $800-900 right up to $1,100-1,200 a tire. So a set of tires, I'll give you an example. My last set of tires, they were the Pirelli Trofeo R's. Fantastic grip, really, really put the power down nicely, and handled phenomenally. 4 tires lasted me 4 weeks. They wear away. I mean, you're compromising with, they're super soft and sticky, with they wear away quickly. So tires, I go through a set of tires probably every 2 months on average. So I go through 2 or 3 sets a season. A season for me, because I'm in Canada, is about 6 months. It's usually from, you know, I mean, April, beginning of April to maybe end of September, middle of August, or October, somewhere in there, because then the snow comes and the cold weather comes. So tires can get expensive on it. Also, when you're building a car, in my experience, I'm not speaking for everybody, when you're building a high horsepower car, things go wrong. And when I say things go wrong, I don't mean big major things. I don't mean, you know, you're blowing engines or blowing head gaskets. I mean all the little things that everybody that I know that has a pumped up truck, if it's Ryan's truck that's usually at the shop, or friends' cars that are done up, or anybody with a modified high performance engine or vehicle, you always have those little problems. For example, my belt went on this for the supercharger. It was squeaking, driving me crazy. It's $120 for a new belt. A bearing went in one of the pulleys for the supercharger. You know, it was a couple dollars, but I had to pull the supercharger apart, get that idler pulley off of there, replace the bushings or the bearings, put it all back together. Just this morning, I'm actually out test driving my car right now, because coming home the other night I did a pull, and after I did that pull, it started idling and running really rich. My air fuel was like 9, 10. And so again, this morning I got there, had to diagnose what the problem was. Simple little problem. My check valve in the end of my nozzle, right before my meth nozzle, I've got the sprayer with a check valve right in there. I guess some dirt or debris from the tank. Now I tried to clean the tank out the best I could, but you can imagine with all the welding and grinding and painting and everything that happened to the tank, I mean, I tried to clean it out and rinse it and make sure that it was top-notch clean. there was still a little piece of dirt or something, I'm guessing, that got into that check valve, and my check valve wasn't closing, causing my engine to suck meth out of that line, which was causing it to run real rich, right? I was running real fat, it was popping and cracking, whatever. Not a big deal. I had extra check valves at the shop. You know, I diagnosed the problem, talked to Kevin, gave me some ideas, we took it off, no problem. Took me half an hour to fix, you know, and I had a check valve at the shop. But again, if you're not doing it yourself and you're taking the car in, every time one of these little things come up, it can start getting costly as far as, you know, how much does it cost to operate the vehicle. I tell people, and I've told people just recently, if you want a fast performance car and you just want to drive it, and you're not mechanically inclined, and you're not working on it yourself, and you don't enjoy working on it, you just want to buy it and drive it and enjoy it, I mean, my suggestion would probably be go out and buy a performance vehicle. You know, you can go out and buy a Challenger Hellcat, you can go out and buy a base model Corvette, you can go out and buy a higher model Corvette. I mean, for what I've got into the Mustang, and they're awesome cars. You want to take it around a track, you want to beat on them, and you got warranty, and you don't have to worry about anything. Probably a good way to go. If you're working on it yourself and you enjoy working on it, you don't mind troubleshooting. I like problem solving. I like, you know what I mean, keeping myself on my toes. And again, it's never been anything big. I mean, the car runs mint. It's just when you have a performance car, all these little tiny things keep adding up, like, oh, this little thing and that little thing. Like I said, when it came to the running of my car, I probably took my spark plugs out and gapped them 6 or 7 different times before I found that 26 thou is where I want to be for my gapping. You know, started at 32, dropped it to 30, dropped it to 29, 28. Like, it takes a little bit of playing around to get that. My spark plugs is another thing. My spark plugs, you know, I'm not putting my spark plugs in and running my spark plugs for 50 or 80,000 K like I would in a normal vehicle. I said before, I'm running brisk R10S's. I put them in. I can notice a performance difference in my car after 6,000-7,000 kilometers. So again, take those spark plugs out, put new spark plugs in, gap them, put them back in, boom, there's my performance is back. But those spark plugs are $25 Canadian, $30 Canadian. By the time I get them shipped here and pay, I mean, I'm $250, $300 to put plugs in my car, and I put plugs in my car all the time. So little things, guys, that you should think about if you're going to build a car. Like I said, every time your car's not running right and you've got to take it into a tuner, that's going to cost you a couple bucks to get the car tuned or to have someone to look at it. Insurance is another thing. Myself, if you're going to do a car, you're going to put money into it, you should definitely have an appraisal done to your car and make sure your insurance company knows what your car is worth. Now, I know this is a not very popular opinion among the industry, because everybody's like, oh, my insurance goes up, or, you know, it can go up, or my insurance can drop me. I've run into all those problems. But the downfall is that if you get in an accident and, you know, you lose the car, you're losing the money you've got into the car, and I don't want to see that. So, you know, you got to think, if you go to your insurance company and say, okay, you know, my Mustang, here's an appraisal saying it's worth $85,000 because I got all this money into it, your insurance is going to go up. That's something else you got to think about. So month-to-month operations, you know, I don't know, you know, what your thoughts are or what your budget is. Month to month, your car is definitely, it's more expensive to run, especially if you're driving as a daily driver like I am. It's definitely more expensive to run than, you know, something that's stock that you don't have to really worry about. If you don't work on your own cars, that's something that you got to think about, is constantly taking it in. And the downtime. My car starts running rich. I took it into my shop this morning, played around with it, tinkered with it, diagnosed the problem, fixed the problem. I'm back out on the road, and away we go. If you're taking it to a shop, I mean, any good shop is pretty busy. So you take it to a shop and they're busy, and your car's not running right, and they say, oh, it's going to be a week before I can get to look at it. I mean, you could be out a week or 2 weeks without your car because it's in the shop. And all those little things, every time you're bringing it in, you know, it could get kind of frustrating at the end of the season, being like, man, my car's always in the shop because of something very small, but it takes up time. Another problem with my car right now that's not a huge problem is my rear seal in the back of my Tremec transmission is seeping a bit of tranny fluid. Again, don't know if it's the way my drive shaft is bending or the force that I'm putting it under or whatnot. It's a $7 seal, so it's not like it's a big deal, but I've got to drop my entire exhaust to put it on. Then I've got to drop my drive shaft, replace it, then put it all back together. So again, it's just a little bit of time. So I hope that answers some questions for you guys. Like I said, I really do appreciate all of the comments and all of the likes on the Mustang videos. I'm glad that you guys like them. Like I said, I will say that, you know, when you're rolling, I mean, there's first. I'm not gonna hit it in first because I mean it's pointless, but I mean when you get onto it, even in second gear, if I get onto it a bit, it just hammers the tires off the car. Like, you gotta really know how to put it in, and every time you do that, and it puts just a little bit of rubber down over and over and over again, you can imagine it goes through the tires pretty quick. And I'd like to say that people aren't out there beating on their cars, but if you're building a car like this, I mean, you definitely like taking it to the track, or, you know, when you're out. I mean, I'm never really rough on my car if anybody's in it with me. I'm a pretty relaxed driver because I just don't want to be responsible for anybody else. But when I'm by myself, you know, a pull here or there, and every time you do a pull, you're laying rubber down in a couple gears. You can go through tires pretty quick, guys. So, like I said, I hope that answers your questions. For those of you that are new to the channel, I will be putting up more videos on the Mustang because people have been liking them, but the channel's actually about a 97 Toyota Supra that we're building strictly on the votes of subscribers and giving away after we've got more than $100,000 into it. So we will be building the car on what you guys want. When the car is done, we will be giving it away to one lucky subscriber. The next big vote that will be ready, I think Tuesday, Derek said it's going to be ready, will be for the paint. So that's an exciting one. I'm happy to see that. We're going to the dyno tomorrow for the GTR. So again, there's videos on here on the GTR, on Mike's GTR, on his Corvette. I'll probably be doing a pulley and a meth kit on the Corvette, getting that thing tuned up. So, but yeah, for your chance to win a $100,000 Supra, hit that subscribe button, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff, and we'll see you in the next video.